Harvesters Repair Shop. We're at the Antique Engine and Tractor Association. It's IH week, and or IH weekend is the feature. There's IHs in there, over there, there, everywhere. There's IHs. It's pretty awesome. A lot of red in this area. But we're gonna take you around, show you a bunch of cool stuff. They did tell me that they got me a vehicle this year, but they said it makes sense for me, and it's a manure spreader. So I don't know what kind of a hint that is, but we'll take it like it is. Actually, this is a really cool one. My buddy Mike just got done painting this all up, and really nice. I would ride in this, actually. Maybe I can ride in this. Either way, we're gonna take you around. We got plowing, or not plowing today. We got picking corn to do. We got all sorts of demonstrations. There's a sawmill. There's a blacksmith shop. There's more red tractors than Rock Island ever had on their lot, probably. So we're gonna take you around and show you them, but we gotta get to we gotta get going. So stick around. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a fun time. All right. Well, we're gonna start off with tank-sized tractors to feature first. This is an International Harvester 4366. Which, if you with a keen eye might notice, this looks like another manufacturer's type of tractor, the way the frame is. And obviously it's because this was actually built by the Steiger Corporation out of North Dakota. At the time, International Harvester was looking to build a big four-wheel drive, and knowing that to gear up that way and yada, 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 it'd be a whole lot easier to have Steiger build the tractor. But instead of using, what Steiger would usually use like a cat drivetrain, they used an International Harvester motor. So, that's how it worked. And it ends up working out anyway, because Steiger and International became friends a lot later on in their corporation. So, and actually still to this day. So, but it's kind of a cool piece here. Obviously, with the big fatty singles, pretty cool. And we'll take you around and show you some more of it as we go. But yeah, we're in the like hall of cool stuff, we'll say. We'll show you all what's in it. We'll take a look around this tractor. See, big signal. Up a little bit so you can actually see a little bit more of it. It barely fits in here. We also have the one that probably was the scariest tractor in the Bible Belt, the Farmall 666. Little hydro. Here's a nice little IH 300. This is obviously roots all the way back to the H. A 656, the predecessor to the 666. And then this one down here, this is a pretty cool piece. This is, so you guys remember going to the Millersville show? I believe this was here. No, this one was not, but this one might have been the one. I don't. Listen, don't quote me. Little shop mule. Yeah, this is actually the one that was at that show. So again, this was a IH power unit. This would have been used on carriers in the Navy, all sorts of different things. Out of the W.F. Herbert Company out of Chicago, Illinois. Pretty rare. There's actually one of these, and we'll go down and show you if you want to pause and try and read it. I don't think you probably can. But on the USS Hornet, which they just discovered a couple of years ago on the bottom of the ocean, way down there, there is still one sitting on the deck, still strapped down. So whoever was tying the tractor down that day definitely wins a prize. It's not a good prize because the thing sank. That's probably bad to say. Either way, it's still down there. We'll keep going around. Like I said, we got IHs, we got a whole bunch of Cubs, we got a cool 1020 down there. We got the Generator Special H. We saw that one last year. Speaking of Cubs, there's this beauty right here. International Cubs were made for a lot of years. Don't quote me on how long, but it was a long time. Through many different generations of styling. And at this point, IH gave them their own color scheme, which obviously this stuck around with the little Cub Cadets, the yellow and white hood, or cream hood, or whatever color that actually is. We'll go check out some more stuff. We'll walk down the main row here. We got another 4366 like we just saw, all dualed up. Here's another rare one, International 7488. This would have been the biggest of the 2+2. There's only 16 of these, so when I say rare, it is pretty rare. This was kind of the beefed up version of what they were kind of doing earlier. The only 2+2 that was really designed where it could run duals in the front and the back. On your like 3488s and your smaller 2+2s that they had, they had issues with axles breaking and whatnot, but pretty cool tractor, kind of ahead of its time. As really a big manual front, you know, big, basically was, if you treat it like a front wheel assist row crop, That's kind of the best way to do it. Here's a big tank here, 1466. Looks like a Cummins Repower 826 here. It's a Cummins because the way that is. 1206. Always a pretty looking tractor, radio fender on it and everything. Big IH600. This was based off of what originally would have been like a W9. So again, they never had a row crop version of this size tractor, but it was the tank size. 706. 966 is really popular in the tractor pulling world. Basically, you put a turbo on this, it's a 1066, and for this one, pretty rare for it to just not actually have a turbo on it. We'll see if my standing is correct, because a lot of them got aftermarket turbos on them. What do you see up there, folks? You see a turbo? You see? Nope, nope, nope. No turbo. So, still factory. 706. Ooh, gold demonstrators. These are pretty cool. An 826, which again, could be wrong, but I believe the 826 would have had the German diesel motor in it. And these would have been what they sent out to dealers as demonstrators with the gold trim. Now, I'm not an IH expert on this, but I don't believe they know actually how many went out that way, but it's a pretty popular thing to do, especially in the restoration world. The 5488, same, would have been on the same time as that 2+2. And then on the more of the adorable side of things, a little 284. Small little utility or compact tractor, but pretty cool. They kept the same styling all the way through it. And like I said, you can see we got tractors all over the place. We'll keep wandering and looking for some cool stuff out there. More unique one here is a 1568. So during you've heard me talk in different videos, the V8 craze of the late 60s, early 70s, muscle cars are cool, and so kind of to capitalize on tractor companies decided to throw V8s and stuff. Obviously, you had Oliver with the 2255, you had Perkins or Massey with the big V8 Perkins, you had John Deere throwing a V8 and stuff later on, but IH went with this one, International Harvester diesel V8. Now, these collector-wise have really taken off. In their time, they're pretty much similar horsepower to the 6-cylinder variety, just these enjoyed the fuel tank a little bit more. They were supposed to be set up with like basically a really crude version of a cylinder shutoff that didn't work so well. So obviously now they're cool, but we'll bring more on also on the rarer side of things. Farmall MV, which would have been the high crop variety. So what they did there was they run a planetary on it to get you up in the air, and then a special front end for just that was just on this style.
No personal vehicles in the grounds, on the ground.
Old, kind of a rare piece here. This MV, which has been the high crop variety of the M, which I believe they might be right there. Either way, but this was so what they basically did was they'd run a different style wide front end, so you got your front end up, and also a lot taller front tire. Normally I think it'd be like a 6x16, and this is a much bigger version. I'm trying to get the number. It's an 8.5 by 20. So before it was cool to put 20s on your car, we were putting 20s on the front of tractors. So take that. Also, they ran a planetary on them. That's how they got the back end yeeted up so far into the air. I believe this one does go on tractor drives, which is probably why you have the quick work drain for draining out your planetary for faster service. But one more of the cool pieces that you see here down in Geneseo. Again, almost see working to start. Another cool piece here. 1918 McCormick 816 Junior. Now these are a pretty cool tractor because at this point, we talk a lot about in the videos how at a certain point they were trying to figure out what a tractor was going to be. So at this point, Mike's just making all sorts of two-stroke noise over there. At this point, they had it figured out that you should probably have 4 wheels on it. At the time, there were some companies still trying with the 3 wheels idea. But they figured, hey, let's put our motor not transversely. John Deere didn't learn that lesson until the late 60s or the late 50s. But they didn't know what to do with the radiator. So what's weird is motor's here, radiator's actually behind it. And a lot of guys talk about the the near and dear to my heart, Oliver's, being all covered up and getting warm. And obviously this would have been a kerosene burner, but that motor, there's probably a good chance it was gonna get pretty warm, because there's not a lick of opening on that thing, except for where the raw power exits the building out of the exhaust there. We'll go around and see where the controls are on this thing. See what kind of creature comforts you had in 1918. Well, you didn't have much, because it was 1918 and you were tougher for not having them. Looks like, we'll go to the other side. I think I can kind of decipher what we're looking at pedal-wise, or handle-wise. You see you got 2 levers there on the steering wheel. Sorry, I'll get you in there close. One of those is probably spark and one of them is throttle, because obviously being a hand crank, you want to slow your timing down a little bit to help it start and then help it run better, turn it back on. But, so yeah, another cool piece here.
Welcome
like
to
I
the
said,
62nd.
we showed that other 1568 that was outside. This one gets the hand out inside, so you know it's got to be rare. This is serial number 1, which means it was the first one. When they were running down the line, this is the first one to go down the line. Which could also mean hopefully they figured out how the process worked, because this would have been the first time they bolted one together. But back up here so you can see the whole tractor in all of its glory. That 666 that's in the other room, the Bible Belt Scary Special, that one's also serial number 1. We showed that earlier, so don't need to wander back in there. But got a little H in here. This one's pretty cool. This Super M here is actually a Louisville, out of Louisville, Kentucky. So Farmall had a plant in both places. Most M's and Super M's came out of Rock Island, just down the road. But for a couple years, they were making it out in Louisville. So this being a Louisville special makes it extra rare. About the 250,000 M's that were made, this one is kind of rare. M's are kind of like Corvettes. Everyone says that their M is special, but most M's are just about the same. But that one actually is special. So we'll come back by this 15. Sounds like field work's happening, so I'm gonna go hustle out there and show you what's going on. There's something about a 66 series grill that just, man, that's cool. All right, folks, we're out here where they're gonna be harvested soon, or working on the cornfields. But check this little WD out with this new idea picker. Now this is a kind of a unique picker, at least from what I've been around and seen. And obviously you guys know that is not a lot. But you notice, instead of having all of this stuff attached right here, because these WDs aren't that big of a tractor, it hooked onto the snap coupler, which is what the, actually no, it's not even hooked to the snap coupler. It's directly bolted on, but it's got these adapters here where that fits on, and then it's got these little trailing wheels. So, kind of another little unique piece here versus what you would see a traditional picker, where all this stuff is just attached to the tractor. Would take a little bit of the strain off the tractor, so you know, a little bit smaller tractor, which obviously WDs, I mean, power-wise they're right in line with them, but they're just a smaller chassis. There's not as much room to bolt stuff to. So that's kind of a cool one. If you see stuff like that or you got one, leave it down in the comments. We'll look at that little International 615. That's gonna be running here pretty soon. We're gonna get things going. There's a there we go, an Oliver cart. Said I'll step over here and you can see the rest of the grounds as we're happy wandering. There's a ton of equipment to go out and play. So we're gonna try and show that. Looks like we got the thresher going, so, or the sheller, excuse me. We'll wander over that way, see that, then we'll get things going. Obviously they're gonna be in the field just a little bit. Comes that little Alice with that tow behind half mounted picker thing we showed you earlier. We're over here at our sheller. This is that Minneapolis Moline one we always have over here with our mini little corn crib there. And if you're like me and you weren't actually around farming, I go through this every year, what that is, how this works, to the best of my knowledge. So if I'm off, well, that's probably true. Pretty cool deal. So they got the B is actually running a belt pulley wagon hoist. So we'll start off at the very beginning how this whole system works. This is pretty cool. So, obviously, your corn goes in there, but this thing I've shown this a couple times. Pretty neat. Runs off a belt, off that B. Let's get around the other side here. Nice little John Deere. Runs off that B, as you can see here. Then it runs into this mechanism that actually lifts up. So, you know, before you had a hydraulic dump, which actually, the funny part about it is, this is actually a hydraulic dump. See, he's running the controls there, so he doesn't have to get near all this mechanism. So they'll pull it up, it'll go up, and it was on into your corn crib, which could have been there for however long you wanted it to. Wander around the side here. For a minute, thrush over here. And then on this side, this is the actual sheller. It's off now, so you can actually hear me talk, which I do appreciate that. So your corn, we're gone in there. It has a big long elevator. You see system of gears and other mechanisms. It's pretty wild. It's all the different, like that chain runs to there. That runs down to that bevel gear to run that auger. And then off of that auger, there's another set of gears to run this auger. So there was a lot of ways to go from giving high 5s to high 4s around these machines. And again, like we said before, you take the inside of a combine and you get rid of that, that's what this is. So basically a picker was just like your corn head and just grabbed it, which is what you normally have. So you put like the corn head would be like right here. And grab all the corn up, we'll drop it in there. But you know what I mean. And then you'd have your corn would go in there, your shaft would go out that tube, and then your cobs would come out of there. We'll show a video when we get it up running a little bit, but yeah, pretty cool. This thing is absolutely in great shape. I know it came from a farm that didn't have much use, so it's pretty cool. We run it all off of minis. They got a 5-star that runs the whole kit and caboodle. Like I said, there's a lot that goes on this thing. A lot of different things to grease. And then there's a Vista that's pulling that, that'll pull that over to get dried or go to market, depending on what we're doing on that thing. Instead of, if you had animals to feed, you might not always sell all your corn. You could also turn it into cornmeal, which is what this would actually do. So, let's run off that John Deere. Back there with the belt pulley into the do not touch BIBSTER cage. It's ground up, run up to the top, and then drop down in it and turn it into cornmeal. Early 1900s, so it turns into that. There we go. But it's just two different ways that you would have done with your crop. Obviously, they're selling it for feed or selling it, turn it into meal for free. We obviously let all tractors come play with us. You know, IH is the feature. We don't, you know, we don't care. So here's the row. We just put them in a little bit of a different area. So one of the cooler ones, this is always here, but it's always worth putting on video, is this little Russell 1224. The reason why it's so cool and always want to put on video is there's only one of these. This is it. This is only one. Here we got a cross motor case. Obviously, if you remember from Rand Tool video, there was a big one of those. That's the smaller version. Got a mini, got a little John Deere, got a bunch of Alice's. Again, Alice is our feature tractor next year. So if you have an Alice, our show is always the same third weekend-ish in September, or 2 weekends after, is it 2 weekends after Labor Day? Either way, you'll find that information. We'll talk about next year. But if you have an Alice or you're an Alice fan, make sure to come down. Because I mean, there's a lot of Alice's here, and there's going to be a whole lot more of them next year when they are the feature. Check this thing little out. The Alice TLB. It's like a before the days of skid loaders. My gosh, that was, you had to really check out your life insurance before you crawled on that thing, I'll tell you what. Pretty cool little loader. And then got a couple big Fords. We'll keep walking around. We got a cool, we're gonna go check out that fire truck here in a second. Clearly I was gonna film this. So for a couple years, I think only 2 years total, I'll remain a lawn tractor. I mean, actually, I don't believe they actually made it, but you know what I'm saying. This would have been the 105, was the smaller of the two, I think. I'm not an expert on these things by any means. They might say Oliver, but I'm not sure about all of them. But this is a pretty cool unit here. Put the turf tires on it. Looks pretty good. But yeah, so they made these for a couple years, and then by that point, the white corporation had basically taken over. So they were going to be combining them with something similar to that, and they actually made it white. And it was, and I think it was an MTD later on. But a lot of cool little Cub Cadets and John Deeres. Here's another. It's 112 Hydro with the duals. You know, you want that low ground compaction while you're mowing. That's for sure. Let's wander up here. We'll cut through. Check out this 82 little trick unit. Again, IH had it pretty cool where they're keeping the same kind of grill design on the little tractors, built by Brian Ashmore. Quite a few of these are for Ashmore Small Engine Repair. If you got any questions, there's a number. That's who you can give a call to. Here's some of his smaller ones. These are cool. These are not riding lawnmowers, these are ride-on mowers. I mean, look at this little 3 horsepower unit here. I'm gonna be honest, that's not BIBSTER approved for sure. But you never got cold, but there wasn't, and not a lot of grip on those tires, I'll tell you that. But obviously this is kind of what the first riding, quote unquote, lawnmowers were. You know, a little bit nicer. When they go to that, where you were just straddling the motor, again, your feet would go somewhere. Then you got a little foothold there, but actually these turned into racing lawnmowers. There's quite a few of those. There used to be a series for them, or a class for them. It was like I forgot what they actually called it. But either way, if you're looking for a little simplicity yourself, this little 12's for sale. Come down, pick it up at the show, drive it around, have a good time. No idea what that one is. Here's a little Cub Cadet. And then obviously a sea of Cub Cadets and Massies and all sorts of cool little garden tractors. Victor was only made in 1937. I'll let you guess why they only made it for a year. Probably not because, you know, not a hillside edition. Goldwing goes by. Let's me and you play a game here, audience, viewers, Bibster. Let's find out. Let's figure out how this thing works. So, like a normal picker, brings you in your corner obviously over there. Then it runs up, back down that conveyor, and then it runs the big paddles in there, like how we see your big grain beds, all the way up there. And then that actually, when it's fully loaded, there's levers. They pull the levers back, and it'll actually dump. You can see there's a gear that runs all the way up there. That shaft up there, pretty neat. There we go. There we are. All right, start back up. half a combine. Well, before you had that, you had this. So this would be, they would just take the stalks, kind of grab them in a whole chunk there. You can see the guy's got right now. They would feed them into this machine. It would come out as ear for. You would then take it from here to a shovel. So again, it's kind of a 4 steps in line. The picker would actually be like that one back there. We'll go shovel. Here's that 1 row cutter, I guess you would call it. I don't know. This is a technical term. I'm sure you guys can bleep blop it down in the description. Find a little John Deere. But yeah, this would just take 1 row, bunch them all together, tie it in a knot, kind of like have a knot or kind of like a baler, and then kick that whole clump off to the side. Then you pick that up with a wagon, like you got back there. So here's the knotter assembly. Gonna group them together, put it in a knot, kick it out the side. So just kind of again showing you some of the older ways that this was all done, even before that that's before that. That's a big word for before that. So good, a lot of cool stuff here. Make sure if you're watching this on Friday night or Saturday morning, show goes on all weekend. Come on out. We'll demonstrate Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this uses water screen cooling. A lot of them, like those other stationary motors, have a big water tank on the top of them, and basically when the water evaporates away, you add more water and keep it running. Well, this one, the water would actually pump back and go down the screen, and that allow the water, air moving through it, and a little bit of evaporative cooling would help cool that off, and the water will go back in the system. These two are air cooled. You can tell by the fins. This was a hit or miss. You hear how it winds down and then it hits again. All right, folks, we got a definitely unique one here. This is the Goldwing Honda. This thing just pulled in and I had to come film it.
Right.
Maybe I said I had to come film this thing. This is a one of one for sure.
Have you heard about it before?
I have not heard about it before.
Yeah.
So it's got a Honda 1500 cc. I'm guessing because of the sign. But tell me a little bit about it. What was the thought process?
It was quite a process to do that. Had to lengthen it, had to lengthen the frame and widen it, and lower it.
Go around and see if we can see your handiwork here. Yeah, this is I saw it coming in on the trailer. I was like, oh, it must be some, I assume seeing the stacks like some V8. And then I looked closer from afar. I was like, why does that look like the valve covers are on the side? Yeah, so this would have been originally in a Goldwing, correct?
Yeah.
Did you just have the motorcycle laying around and thought?
Well, I bought it from a friend of mine. He decided to part his Goldwing out.
Yeah.
That engine's got 560,000 miles on it.
It just broke in then. Yeah, just started to get her working.
And then I run a farm machine repair shop. Customer had the tractor and then block was shot.
Okay.
So he didn't want to fix it.
Match made in heaven.
So I bought it from him.
That's cool. So it goes. So you still have the Honda transmission behind it.
Yeah.
So you have your 6 speeds that go into then your regular transmission.
Yeah, well, this is 5 speed.
Oh, 5 speed, sorry.
And then that's 2
Yeah.
5-speed transmission.
So, 10,
So
yeah, all the gears.
That's 25 different selections.
I couldn't even keep the math up to know what gear I was in.
And 5 speeds in reverse.
Oh yeah.
Put that in reverse, and then you got 5 speeds here.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So it looks like, so you come off your shaft over that would have been for the normal motorcycle, and then you go in.
Yeah, this is off the motorcycle. Then back about here this far, I've got it welded to an inch shaft. All that's in this casting from here to here is that shaft and the universal joint, and the top transmission shaft.
Oh, nice.
See, the clutch is in here.
Oh, yeah. So you don't have to do... Wow, that is cool. I'm going to go see... We'll go on the other side and see how your clutch mechanism works, because that's...
See how I actuate the...
Oh, I think I just saw on this side, and I like it. I like it. Yes!
That's off the handlebar of the...
Simplicity.
This is the motorcycle shifter.
Okay. Oh! Okay, so you could just you can just,
Oh, yeah.
shift on the fly.
On the road, when if I start off going someplace, I got that in 5th gear, road gear, start out in 1st gear in here, and then I just keep shifting up.
Keep shifting up until you're hauling. That is unique. That is something, you see a lot of different repower and stuff, but I don't think I've ever seen a Honda. Never seen a Honda in an H. That is cool. That's cool. What's your name, sir?
Homer Weber.
Homer Weber. I'm Kyle Jackson. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah. Oh, it's not just this.
Oh, wait, it gets better. Hold on, I'm going to come around the other side. It's not a Bibster width back there.
I say it's not just this that I put motorcycle engines in. That's a 305 Honda Dream motorcycle engine. I got a 305 Honda Dream with 250,000 miles on it.
Oh, jeez.
Sure, right.
This Honda H, because I'm just in love with this thing. First, there's the toolbox. Still got the gauge cluster on it. And he was explaining, because of how it works, that belt has 5 speeds. The PTO that's still back there has 5 speeds. It is just... Oh, he's the coolest guy. Like, the dude still rides trial bikes and pulls it with his other motorcycle. Like, just... He didn't get old, he just got cooler. So we'll just say that. But I mean, I can't stop. Just this thing is just... you gotta come, you gotta see this thing in person if you ever get a chance. That's all I'm saying. The Honda...
pull this out. I gotta open that a little more. Now, just a matter of flattening it out. See, it's coming. No, not locally. I don't teach locally. Mine's up in Wisconsin where I teach. They're pretty much done for the year because they got an outside deal. Make sure the water's still on it when you pick it up. They give it a little gold tint to it.
That's pretty cool. All right, folks. Well, I told you I'd show you this thing. We'll finish the video out with it. This thing came out of the John Deere Plow and Planter Works, and it is a little fire truck. And buddy Brian owns it, and got it all restored and looking all cool. Look, there's a train. I swear to all that is holy if it gets the horn right now. Okay. A lot of people on it. Anyway, so you can see, I mean, it's got all your pumps and your suction and your discharge and attack and levers and things, and here's how you'd sit. But just a cool piece. Again, something that, you know, I've said it at other tractor shows, but I think ours definitely fits it. You just see cool stuff here. And you saw it in the parade if you watched it. And it is for sale, so, you know, if you want to get yourself your own little mini fire truck, you can. You can even hit, I know he won't care, I'm gonna hit the bell. Look at this. Look at this. This thing even works. So, pretty cool little piece, little fire hose on it. He might take this on our tractor drive next year, he said, so we'll see. Anyway, there is still so many tractors to look at, and we're gonna wait till tomorrow's video for those. You gotta come back. You gotta come back if you wanna see a pink John Deere A, or an Alex Chalmers 4W30 305, or an Oliver, or another Oliver. There's a couple Olivers over there. So, come back tomorrow's video. We will show you all the rest of that. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It really does help the almighty algorithm. So I don't know why else to do that, but yep, just throw the subscribe, throw a like. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.